Hello everyone, happy April. Shall we talk about my favourites? Now I know we're running a little bit late and for that I apologise. At the start of the month there's always so many videos to turn around, they all just kind of slip behind the radar a little bit. I'm so happy it's finally spring. I can't tell you how much I'm not a winter person. It is finally light when I leave work. April showers are really April showering, but at least it's kind of a bit warmer. I'm so sick of my bedroom background. I just do not have an aesthetic background anywhere in my home, and it's fine because it's literally doesn't matter, it's not important. I still enjoy what I'm making and the content I'm putting out, but then you know when you see YouTubers with really gorgeous like curated spaces, I'm not gonna let it get to me, it's fine. As we did with February favourites, my favourites for the month aren't necessarily going to be like tangible material products. It could be books, it could be podcast recommendations, it could be films, it could just be things that I'm doing at the moment that I really enjoy. So let's get into it. I think this video will be a little bit on the shorter side because I don't have a huge amount of stuff that's really stood out to me this month. The seagulls are never going to be in my favourites videos. The first product is these Kiss Salon Acrylic French Nude Press-On Nails. Let me get some out of the packet to show to you. This is what she looks like. Ignore my nails right now because I just took them off the other day, but that's what it looks like on. I'll try insert a video. I usually do my own nails, but I've been getting really bored with doing it recently. I haven't really had the time because I do my own gels. It's quite a lengthy process. I have used press-ons before, but I've never had them from Kiss. I normally just buy like really dead cheap Primark ones. Those are about £8, I think. Now the secret to press-ons is prepping your nails like you would if you were going to do a gel manicure. So like file your nails down rough, do your cuticles, make sure they're dehydrated, really hold and press when you put the glue on. When I tell you, they lasted me 3 entire weeks. 3 whole weeks from start to finish. I had infill space. None of them had popped off themselves. I removed them. They were starting to lift a bit when I was putting my hair up. I had a couple of fingers that it was catching under, but 3 weeks. I have got enough for another set left in here, I think, so I am going to try it again. They were the perfect length. I type all day at work and they weren't too long. The actual nail itself was really, really thick and it is white all the way through, so you didn't have any of that like polish chipping. The thickness on the tip is great because you don't get that bending you get sometimes with fake nails, you know, like the long Primark ones, and you'll like put your hand out and it will just fold in half. Didn't get that. As always, there is no ad placement in these videos, but if any of these companies want to run me a check, please do. The secret to press on nails is all in the prep and like filing down the actual nail so that it looks natural and fits your nail well. But yeah, I'm just so impressed. My one thing is that I wish the square was a little bit sharper, but it's nothing I can't do myself with a file. I'm just lazy because they were basically round at the end of 3 weeks. It's so bog standard and normal and boring, but I'm literally obsessed. It is the Nivea soft cream. Hear me out, the reason this is in my favourites is because I bought this because I needed a relatively unscented neutral body moisturiser. I do realise this is quite scented, it smells quite like Nivea-ish. I own so many different perfume oils. I went through a phase of being really into perfume and I still am, but I just made so many purchases. I love oils and I love smelling good, but I feel like dabbing the oil onto your body is not the same as like an atomizer. It just doesn't, you don't leave that scent trail so much, and that's what I love. So I bought this to get the most out of my perfume oils by putting my oils into like a bland plain moisturiser. I'm just trying to not buy as many beauty products, and I know I could just buy the scented lotion to match the perfumes, but that's just wasteful. I want to use up some of my oils, and when I tell you it works so well, I smell divine. So that's why Nivea Soft is in the favourites, because after my shower every morning I like genuinely look forward to moisturising and smelling delicious all day. Like, you know, perfume just makes me so happy. I'll catch a whiff of myself and it will be like all over my body and it just is so nice. And I feel good because I'm using up loads of my existing perfume oils because I kind of stopped using them because I felt like I couldn't really smell them that much, or other people couldn't. I'd have known that I would have got this much joy from mixing oil and Nivea Soft. I would have done this a lot sooner. Next up is a book, and it's a non-fiction book, so bear with me. It is Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs. I have an abundance of non-fiction books. I have an abundance of books on medicinal herbs, like encyclopedic style ones. They're all quite intense, they're quite long, they're not super easy to read, they're not super easy to carry around. I saw this recommended online as a really good beginner's book, but I couldn't find it anywhere and I couldn't be bothered to order it. And then one day I just saw it. I just saw it in Waterstones. It was in a section that I hadn't looked in before. When I tell you it's so comprehensive but so accessible, every syrup, every tea, everything I've researched and made has been from this book in the last month or so. It is cups and fluid ounces because it's American, but actually there's a big bit at the beginning about 1 part to 2 parts, 2 parts to 3 parts. So I just wrote right in the beginning on a post-it note how much a cup is in grams and how much a cup is in millilitres. It was around £12. It has information about like the actual plants, it has information about their safety factors, which parts you use, and then it gives you a bunch of recipes and like what it's for, and then it tells you all the basics, so stuff not specific to those plants and herbs, but it will be like just how to make a tincture, how to make a salve, and then it will tell you teaspoon measurements, dropper measurements and millimetre measurements, which is so useful. I found all that stuff so hard to understand. Basically, I'm nerding out over this book. The instructions are really clear. It's not super convoluted. It's not like 1,000 parts to each recipe. I just think it's a really good book for beginners. So the reason I'm hesitant to buy like US-based books, even though I think they're of great value, I think there's a certain level of accessibility and like the thought of maybe getting plants and herbs that won't be like readily available or are not common here. I didn't want to like have a third of a book that essentially I don't use or spend ages learning something that is not applicable to me. But this one's really accessible. Basically huge success. Really excited to delve more deeply into this book. Next favourite is a makeup product, and it is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I've had this product for a really long time and I used it maybe like 5 times and then basically stopped using it because I didn't like it. I was going through my overspill makeup bags. You know the makeup bags you have that are like the spares with all the products in them that you don't use all the time, or stuff, the like palettes that you maybe don't want to get rid of just yet but you do use them every now and then, and this was in there and it was full. I saw a lot of people were still using this. It's a very popular product and I saw it and thought, you know what, I'm not going to throw it, that's such a waste, let me give it another try. Maybe my skin's a bit different now, maybe my makeup techniques are a bit different, it might just be me that doesn't like it, or it might be a good product and I'm not using it properly. I think when I bought it, I had very dry skin and I also don't think I was leaving it to dry down long enough. So now it's one of the first products I put on after I moisturise, and I leave it a good 2-3 minutes to dry down and get tacky. Before, I think I was being really impatient and I was leaving it like 20-30 seconds if that. And when I put my makeup on top of it, I would get like separation, especially here and around my chin. Special guest on today's video is my giant premenstrual chin spot. You're not allowed to talk about it, it's so horrible and the lighting is making it worse. As you can see, it's nearly run out. There'll be a product empties video coming very soon, but it's going to be a huge one. I do actually have the Milk Hydro Grip as well. I was gifted it a really, really long time ago and I did exactly the same thing. I used it about twice, really liked it, then stopped liking it, but I think it's the same thing. I don't think I've given it long enough to dry down. I don't think I've been putting it on correctly, so I'll be interested to know if I like that one as much as I like this one. Last but not least, it's a homeware, it's a bit of kitchenware. It's just really improved my quality of life, and it's my mini French press. I know this is a bit rogue, but I am a very avid tea drinker. Hand in hand with this, I make my own loose leaf teas. I love making like tea concoctions. I'm always mixing some shit up. I had one of those glass teapots with like a sieve in it, you know, to put your loose leaf in, and all the mesh strainers on them, the holes were too big. I was getting like a mouthful of grass no matter what strainer. I bought like 3 or 4. I was getting a mouthful of grass and herbs every single time I drank my tea. Like, it wasn't fine enough, the mesh. So every time I make a tea, and I love it, I have a tea every night before bed. That's like my ritual. Every time I make a tea, the strainer's overflowing, there's bits everywhere, it's like dripping. It's just not a very relaxing experience. It sprung to my mind one day that a French press isn't just for coffee and I can make a loose leaf tea in it. So I bought a mini one just for me, and every night I just load this up with my herbs, press the plunger, have a lovely cup of tea, steeped, no bits in it because the mesh on the inside is so fine. I feel really silly discussing it with such passion, but it's a process that's made my life so much easier. You know, when you have those systems and processes in your life that you just get used to the inconvenience of them, and you're kind of like, well, it's not broken, so you know what, I don't need to buy more stuff to fix it. And then you get something and you're like, this is so easy. It's fully sparked joy. A relatively short March favourites, a bit of a mixed bag to be honest, but let me know what you think. Let me know if I've inspired you with the French press or the Nivea Soft. I'm going to try get April favourites uploaded a little bit more promptly when May starts. As usual, I will link all the products in the description box if you're interested in trying any of them out, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.